Hey, Happy New Year. Welcome back to another episode of the Health with Hashimoto's podcast. It is 2025, unless you're listening to this in the future, in which case it might be 2026 or beyond. And we are celebrating today in the school community. So the school community is where you can find a group of other people who all are on this journey with you. We all have a similar mindset. We all know that we have things that we can do to increase our health. We're not relying on other people to make the decisions for us, like doctors. Yes, they are on our team. We want to use them as a resource, but we know that our health is up to us and the small decisions that we make every single day. So come on over to our school community. School is spelled SKOOL. It is a huge platform of hundreds or thousands of different groups, kind of like Facebook was back in the beginning, or even back in forum days, where you go to your group and that's all you see. You see the things that are posted. You don't see what the algorithm decides to show you. I love that about school. There are no ads. When I'm scrolling on my school feed, I see exactly what people have written. I see follow-ups. I see conversations. I don't see ads. I don't see what Facebook or Instagram or TikTok thinks that I want to see. I see what's actually there. And over in the school community, I just did a workshop. We did it live on Zoom. That is a perk for being in our school community, which is free, by the way. The school community is free. And so I posted on there, we're going to do a call. Here's the Zoom link, and anybody who was available came, and we chatted about celebrating for 2024. And then we went through the Transform Your Year workbook and how to make plans. So if you want to do that, head over to school.com, join the Health with Hashimoto's community. Like I said, is totally free. And the Transform Your Year workshop, that class in the classroom tab, 100% free. The workbook is there. You can download it. You can print it. And then there's a video of me walking you through it. You can do this anytime. I actually created the workbook when it was my birthday, not in December or January. I like to do that reflection on my birthday because I feel like that is like my new year. So that is when I originally did it. And we did the workshop, the Zoom together yesterday. So I invite you over to school. Also in the school community, you will see a fun perk. And that is if I do any interviews, which I do have interviews planned for 2025 for you on the podcast. You get early access to them over in the school community. I am also asking guests if they would be willing to come and do a Zoom with the community after the podcast goes live. So right now, I have a pharmacist who came and we talked all about LDN or low dose naltrexone. And that podcast episode will be this month in January. But the school community members already have access to that video interview. And the call with that pharmacist is already scheduled on our calendar. So if you are interested in joining that call, you have to join the school community to be able to get that link. And I am so excited because, I did ask, what questions do you guys have? I asked that in the group and I got some good questions, but this call is going to allow everybody to ask their own questions. And I'm just super excited. So come on over and join. Those are just some of the perks you get as a school community member. Of course, there's also the other courses that I have, like the Holistic Hashimoto's course. And in January, a lot of people are looking forward to different ways that they can improve their health. The Health with Hashimoto's the Holistic Hashimoto's course is an excellent thing to do. I'm going to walk you through simple and sustainable ways that you can change your health. You can address your root causes. And that leads me to today's topic. What is root cause? What is a root cause? I talk about it all the time. And so for me, it just feels obvious, but it's not obvious. And I'm sorry that I have just been assuming that everybody was understanding. So let's talk about what is a root cause. Now, if I get a cold, I'm thinking I have 4 boys. And there are some times when you are holding your toddler or your preschooler and they have a cold and they look right at you in your face and they sneeze or they cough. And you're like, oh, there it is. You just gave me your cold. You know the moment that it happens because it's so obvious. Or, your kid pukes on you. So disgusting. But you're like, oh, there's my exposure. Like, you can pinpoint the time that you were exposed to that germ, to that bacteria or the virus or whatever it is. Like, that is one type of a root cause. The root cause is the bacteria or the virus, the germ, the, foreign thing that is now attacking you. That is it. You know it. But when I talk about root causes, it's not necessarily that. It's not necessarily the one point in time where you were exposed to Hashimoto's or where it started. Because number one, Hashimoto's is not contagious. So we can't catch it from somebody. And also, there are so many different things that are the root causes. So I talk about, figuring out what is your root cause or what are your root causes, because there are multiple. And I do have some episodes about that. Somebody was just saying that AI is now scraping podcasts and stealing content to use in AI. So they were recommending that people take some of their podcast content, leave it up for a while, and then make it private so that the AI can no longer scrape it. As of right now, I do have all of my podcast episodes available. I believe it's episodes 60 and 61 that I talked about the root causes. I think it's those two. And now I'm debating, maybe I take them and I put them into a private podcast for people who are interested in figuring that out. I have not decided yet. So by the time you listen to this, if you go and look, they might be gone, but they are in the school community. The episodes were based on the root causes course that I do. It is the Hashimoto's Decoded Root Causes, and that is in the school community. So I have that. I go through all of the root causes, because when I say root causes, I don't mean like a one specific thing that started it. I have plants, and I have been on this journey of figuring out how to not kill plants. Back when we got married 21 years ago, my husband once told me that I do not have a green thumb. I have a gangrene thumb because I kill plants when I get them. I have been working hard on that. I've been working on trying to remember to water them. Now I think maybe I'm overwatering them, so now some of them are dying. It's this balancing act, and I don't have it down yet, but I do have greenery in my house. And I know that it's not one root that's holding up my plants. It's not one little string that the nutrients are being delivered through. No, a plant, even a tiny little plant, has multiple little stringy roots. I have a couple seedlings starting. My husband gave me a hydroponic, is that what I call it? Hydroponic garden, where it's just water. And so I've got little seedlings started. It's so exciting. And those little roots, they already have so many little strings coming off of them. It's not just the one taproot. And that is it for your health too. It's not just one thing. When I say we're looking for the root of your Hashimoto's, I'm not talking about one exact instance when you got sick. I'm talking about all of the things that support your health. And so those roots of your Hashimoto's, your autoimmune problem, could be stress and diet and genetics and your gut. Like, it could be all of those things. And it probably is. It probably is multiple things, because we are complex human beings. We're not just a data. We're not a computer. We're not a robot. We are a complex human being. And there is so much depth to you. And so when we're looking for the root of the Hashimoto's, we have to look broadly. So what does that mean then? Great question. Well, we know that every autoimmune condition starts with three things, because the autoimmune conditions, they all have different names based on what is being attacked in the body, but they all are your immune system. So they all have three things in common. Every single autoimmune problem has a gut component. Your gut is responsible for 70 to 85% of your immune system. It's so big. So this would include the foods that you eat. Maybe you are sensitive to gluten or that causes an inflammatory response in you. Maybe it's the lining of your gut. Maybe you have leaky gut. Maybe it is your microbiome. Maybe you don't have enough probiotics or you don't have the right probiotics. Maybe you have an overgrowth of bad ones. People talk about SIBO, which is small intestinal, what's SIBO? Bacteria overgrowth. And you can do things about that. There are so many things within the gut that you can do. So we know that there is always a gut component with an autoimmune condition. We also know that there's always a genetic component. And that's kind of where we see which autoimmune problem that you have. A lot of autoimmune problems, not all of them, but a lot of them do have a genetic disposition, or you do. So for me, I have Hashimoto's. That means that I can look back at my family and I can see other people who have had Hashimoto's. And not all of them have Hashimoto's that has presented. Like my dad, he does not have Hashimoto's, at least not that I know of, not that he knows of. He doesn't go to the doctor, but he doesn't have the symptoms. But I know that his parents and his cousins, there are so many people on that side of the family and my dad's side that all have Hashimoto's. So I know that my dad gave me a gene or that genetic disposition towards Hashimoto's. So when my my immune system started to go haywire, started to attack myself, it was that genetic predisposition that said, okay, this is where we're going to attack Esther first, because that is how my genes are wired. And maybe somebody else's genes are wired for something else. Maybe something else runs in that family is how we say it. It's still your immune system. It's still your immune system going haywire, and it's your genetic predisposition to where it's going to attack. So we know that there's a genetic component. We know there's a gut component. And then the third thing that every single autoimmune condition has is one or more triggers. So when I'm talking about root causes, I'm talking about all of those things. It's not just who gave me this? Like when your kid coughs in your face and gives you a cold. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about everything that is supporting or doing the opposite of supporting, like sabotaging your health. Those are the roots that we want to address when you have Hashimoto's. And that is what I do in the Hashimoto's Decoded Root Causes course. If you come to the school community, you're going to go to the classroom tab and you're going to see, I think right now there's like 9 different tabs in there. One of them is the Hashimoto's Decoded Root Causes course. And that is right now is $7. If you know that you're going to do the holistic Hashimoto's course, then skip the root causes and just do the holistic Hashimoto's course, because we start out with the Hashimoto's Decoded Root Causes in the holistic Hashimoto's course. I can't take you through the whole course without looking at the root causes. So skip that $7 one. Go straight into the holistic Hashimoto's course, where we first will help you figure out what are your root causes. And then after you figure them out, there's that saying, when you know better, you can do better. When you know what's going on, what's causing your health problems, then you can address them. And are you going to know every single thing? Am I going to have you do crazy expensive labs like some functional medicine doctors do? No, I'm just going to walk you through the most common root causes, and you're going to use logic. You're going to say, oh, okay, environmental toxins. Yes, I basically grew up breathing Bath and Body Works. I love Glade scented plugins. I have scented everything. When I wash my laundry, I have scented laundry detergent. I have scented softener. I have scented everything. So yes, using logic, there's probably some environmental toxins of environmental toxin load going on in your body. And yep, that can be a trigger. Do I need expensive labs to figure that out? No, we just need logic. So that is how I approach it in the holistic Hashimoto's course. Yes, you can do labs, and I do encourage you to do some labs. We want to know, is your thyroid producing enough T4? Is your liver and the rest of your body converting that T4 to T3 so that your cells can use it? Do you have a high level of reverse T3, which is when your body says, oh, here's some T4, but I don't want more energy? We actually need to prioritize rest and healing. So we're going to put the brakes on. And instead of converting that T4 to T3, we're going to convert it to reverse T3. That's the brake system. And I feel like that is a very important lab. I want to know if my body is saying, no, we're not going to prioritize converting T4 to T3. We're going to put the brakes on. I feel like that is important to know. I want to know if the gas is on or if the brakes are on, right? We also want to know our antibody levels, and I want to know them on a trend. So when I'm looking at mine, I want to know, what were they last time I had them? Are they going up? Are they going down? Is what I'm doing with my life, with my diet, with my environment, with my stress level, all of these things, is that making my antibodies go up, or am I healing? Are they going back down? I want to know those labs. But to figure out your root causes, a lot of times you just need logic. So I don't know about you, but my husband and I, we have 4 boys. The budget is tight. One of the kids broke multiple bones this year. I mean, our medical expenses were up. And so sometimes you're in that position where you have to choose. Am I going to do a bunch of lab tests, which will give me knowledge and can be very, very helpful? And then I have to apply knowledge. I have to apply that knowledge to my choices, what I'm going to do with it. And then, based on the lab results, then maybe I would go join a course. I created the Holistic Hashimoto's course so that you can use logic. So you don't need to do a bunch of huge testing first. You can do the things that make sense. Like I said, environmental toxins, all of those smelling things, scented things, that's an obvious one. You don't need expensive testing to look back in your history and say, oh yeah, that is definitely part of my history and it could be a root cause. And we go through all of the root causes and then I help you figure out exactly what to do for them. So I love that we can address some things just on a basic level. And I do that with supplements too. When I walk you through the supplements, I know that you're a human first. So we look at what do you need as a human? And then we go deeper. Okay, what do you need for your specific situation? But first, you're human. And then for Hashimoto's, we know that you have Hashimoto's. So let's look at the most common root causes and figure out what to do for them. And so now I hope you know what I mean when I say you're going to look for and address your root causes. It's not just one thing. It could be many things. And when you join the Holistic Hashimoto's course, I'm going to walk you through those and I'm going to walk you through the solutions so that you can figure out exactly what to do for your situation, for your root causes, and for this time in your life. You know exactly what's going on. You know what you have time for. You know what you have brain space for. You know what you have bandwidth for. And so I will help you figure out exactly what to do right now for your health. So I will see you in our school community, especially in the Holistic Hashimoto's course. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. Please discuss any concerns and plans with your trusted healthcare professional. If you found this episode helpful, will you please share it with a friend? I'll see you next week on the Health with Hashimoto's podcast.